So for my next project, I will be tackling another Fast and Furious project, and specifically the Tokyo Drift 350Z. Now I know that base car is a normal 350Z and not a Nismo version, but it so happens that I couldn't get my hands on a regular 350Z as they seem to be sold out everywhere, and the prices that are out there are kind of ridiculous. Now luckily I did have a Nismo version in my stockpile, so I figured I'd use that. I'm not 100% sure yet if this base kit is correct. According to the conversion kit that I'm using, you need to use the regular 350Z, but I'm pretty sure that the chassis is very similar, the interior is very similar, and the body should be pretty much the same too, apart from the wide body fenders on here a little bit, and of course the front bumper, rear bumper, spoiler, and side skirts. But most of those parts will need to be cut off and replaced with other parts anyway, so I figured it wouldn't really be a big deal. Now I'm going to be unboxing this kit and the conversion kit too, both in separate videos. Then I'm going to try to fit the body kit, and if it doesn't work, I will need to source a regular 350Z, and it will take a while before I start the build, so maybe something else pops up in the meantime, but I will try to make it work. So let's jump into the box, have a look inside, and see what's going on. So as usual with these Tamiya kits, the detailing is crisp and most of it is there. Now the downside to this kit specifically, on the chassis side of things, it doesn't have an engine. It does have the transmission here, but the engine part is completely empty, and all of the other parts are pretty much molded in here. Now that does make it an easier kit to build as it doesn't have that many parts, but it also makes it a lot harder to detail, as this won't all be painted black. You of course need to paint the exhaust, probably some other parts all around, and that needs a lot more care and attention, so that is a bit of a downside. Nonetheless, it does look nice and clean. Same goes for all the other parts around here. The muffler, I think this is the stock spoiler for the regular 350, so I'm pretty sure this isn't exactly the same sprue, and of course the brake calipers, mirrors, and some other parts. And since there isn't that much to show on the chassis side of things, we can quickly move on to the next sprue, and that is the interior. Now this one, on the other hand, is nicely detailed. It has a lot of separate parts and pieces as well, and all of them again are nicely detailed. So the door cards have some speaker grills molded in and have incredibly nice casting, detailing, molding done very, very well done. Same goes for the steering wheel, some of the other components all around. This is the shift knob for the automatic, but not to worry, they have the manual version here too. On the dashboard, they have a left and right hand drive side. Both are nicely detailed, equally detailed to say so, and have really crisp lines to them, so that's going to be a breeze to paint up. The main interior tub is divided in two. This is the rear section with the big brace, and of course the front section as well. The seats are molded in one piece, so the back is already molded in here, which is nice to see. And then on the main interior tub, the center console is molded in. That's a bit of a letdown, as it would have been a nice piece to mold separately, but nonetheless all of the details again are taken care of. So since this is the actual Nismo version, it does have a couple of parts that are different. Specifically this one for the exterior detailing, and also a couple of the chassis parts. It does have a different radiator or intercooler. I think this is a radiator. And also the muffler part, the rear piece of the exhaust, is different too, as that probably has some different things going on in there with the upgraded Nismo parts. The front splitter and of course the rear spoiler is done here too. This is the lower half and the top half, which makes it a lot easier to paint, but it does require a little bit of cleanup here and there if you're going to be molding it together. There is one sprue with chrome parts, and that is for the headlight buckets, the taillights, and also the exhaust tips. Now you can just dechrome these and repaint them in any color you'd want, but it is a really nice smooth finish, not overdone as with most of these kits. The chroming is a bit too bright, but this seems just right. Again, the detailing incredibly sharp and clean, so it should be really easy to just pop these in and move on. There is also a second sprue with plated parts, but not really chrome. This is more of a matte chrome silverish finish, and that is for some of the interior door handles. This is for the top piece of the rear brace, of course the specific Nismo wheels, and the door handles for the exterior. So to go along with those wheels, you of course get some tires, some poly caps, and even some of these bars to mount the wheels and have them spinnable, but that also makes it really clear that the front wheels cannot turn from left to right. They are only rotating. The tires are usual Tamiya standard, super high quality, a really nice thread pattern, a good sidewall, and incredible detail and sharp casting all around. There are also two sprues with Clearparts, one for the taillights, which are already pre-tinted in a clear red, so you don't have to paint these. The tinting and or casting is incredibly well done, no imperfections whatsoever, and they should be really easy to put in place. The main clear parts are of course also taken care of. It does not have a piece for the headliner in there, so you do need to use the one from the body itself and paint that. But otherwise it does have a nice clear surrounded area around all of the parts for where the masking needs to be applied and the black edge needs to be painted, of course. The headlight lenses are also nice and clear, super sharp, and a little bit of detailing around the edges is needed in order to make them perfect. For some of the additional details, there is a small piece with mesh. This just needs to be cut to size and shape and glued in carefully. There is also a small decal sheet included to add extra details to the interior for the speaker grills, also some license plates, some various gauges, and also for the display for the navigation, and some backing for some of the clear parts like the rear brake light, and also some logos for on the brake calipers and other details around. And then there is a small extra sheet too. This is actually a metal sticker for some of the reflective parts like the rear view mirrors, and also some of the emblems front and back, and of course some of the various Fairlady or 350Z badges. So with a lot of Tamiya kits, not all of them, but with a lot, you also get a small masking sheet. This is the mask for the front, the rear, and also the side windows in order to make it really easy to put these masks on and simply paint the edges black. It's a really good thing to see in here, and from past experience, most of these fit up really nicely and are a breeze to use. And the final piece, of course, is the body. Now, like I said, I'm going to be converting this into the 350C from Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift. That was a base version. This is the Nismo version, but it does have the main body, which should be the same. The hood is going to be removed, the front bumper, side skirts, and rear bumper will be removed too. So I think all the other parts that will remain should be the same to a standard 350Z. And the parts should fit up nicely. If they don't, I will need to source a regular 350Z, but I think we should be fine. Let's cross my fingers and hope we are actually fine before we can move on to the build, of course. Now, all of the casting on here really clean. You can see the plastic is super smooth and reflective. So for beginning builders, you could just simply build it out of the box. Don't really paint the exterior and have a white one. Add a couple of details around to paint some of the molding and stuff like that. But otherwise, it is a usable body right out of the box. It does have a couple of small mold lines here and there, but usual Tamiya standard, they should be pretty easy to remove. All of the actual panel gaps and panel lines are really nice too.